pro wrestling podcast. He's from Minnesota. All Minnesotans know Japanese as a second language.
What kind of stupid name is that?
Leatherman!
Sounds violent.
This is the best pro wrestling podcast, and we do sound very violent over here.
Sounds violent.
Where we talk about the best pro wrestling in the world. My name's Tommy Stryker. Over there is Taco.
What up?
Joe is over there as well.
Hi.
And we are all indeed Minnesotans. It's not about steaks and weights. We're all Minnesotans.
Oh, it's about steaks and weights.
And we all know Japanese.
He's from Minnesota. All Minnesotans know Japanese as a second language.
That's true.
That is a Minnesota accent.
So yeah, I found some nice gems there looking up old Big Van Vader matches there on the WWE Network when Jesse the Body Ventura was out there doing commentary with JR, a combo that I did not realize existed until recently or whatever. I mean, I probably knew it back in the day. It all kind of runs together, but you forget. It's like, holy shit, JR and the Body, you know, are out there doing commentary together. That was a lot of fun checking out some old Vader matches. We're going to talk about an old Vader match in our retro recommendation for this week. We got another Vader match for next week. Who knows? We might do Vader matches all summer.
It's a Vader month.
It might have to be in honor of the man's passing. But yeah, we got a lot.
I like how the note that just popped in my head for a Vader match is Ron Simmons' hair.
Damn. All right. Well, since this is the best pro wrestling podcast, we got to start off the show talking our hashtag the best. The best of the week is how we start off every show. Hashtag the B.
The B stands for best.
Taco, let's start with you. Well, I guess yours and mine kind of run together a little bit. I'll just start with mine then, and then we'll kind of drift into yours. My best of the week is the NXT/UK Championship tournament from over the weekend. It was it was like Monday and Tuesday, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. But yeah, the tournament on Monday, the quarterfinals and the finals, all that from Monday, and then the match where the winner of the tournament challenges for the championship on Tuesday, and we had the NXT tag team titles change hands to Mustache Mountain. That was a damn good.
That was my tongue.
We had two great tag matches on those two shows and a bunch of great singles matches there.
A lot of fucking bangers on it.
Yeah. And just in general, just a really great presentation. All of the wrestling felt way different than what you see week to week on like Raw or SmackDown especially. And so I just thought...
Especially watching them fucking hours before Raw or SmackDown. I did. I know that wasn't the case, but... Yeah, I did get to... It was very hard in some cases.
But yeah, I like the storytelling they told throughout with Zach Gibson, the guy who won it, executing his finisher on different guys throughout the tournament and just building up the finisher, and then other guys getting injured in other matches, which played into the guy Gibson getting wins with his finisher. So I just thought tremendous storytelling all around in the tournament itself. We'll get into some issues I had spoiler wise a little bit later, which I'm sure a lot of you had to deal with as well. But Taco, touch on your best of the week, because it's...
The B stands for best.
Yeah, my best of the week, it has to be that UK crowd. That crowd was fucking hot, and I love and I appreciate such a good crowd. And I kind of look at our silly ass American crowds, and there would have been dozens of CM Punk chants or some silly shit, which is fun and good, and fucking good spirits and everything. But in such an amazing atmosphere, I forget the name of the hall. Excuse me, but
Royal Albert Hall.
Royal Albert Hall, yeah, just such a
tremendous facility.
Just beautiful. Everywhere you're looking on camera, it was just amazing, and just everyone was so happy, just fucking chanting and singing, just fucking grand old time. Like I love to see that, and then it's just it affects on the performers too. It's just the atmosphere was right, the show was right, everything was just so fucking perfect, and a crowd could fucking change that atmosphere so easy.
There were just a couple of times where the crowd kind of distracted from them. They were so busy, like during the finals for the tournament when it was Pete Dunne versus Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dixon.
Zach Gibson. There were times because the crowd always chant. One of their big chants was "Stand up if you like or if you hate Zach Gibson. Stand up," and they would just do "Stand up if you hate Zach Gibson."
That dude has some real fucking heat over there, though.
Right,
like,
and then they would sit down if you hate Zach Gibson or whatever, or whatever. However the chant went, I forget now. But they kept doing that over and over, and sometimes that kind of distracted from what was going on in the match. But in general, they were doing it because they were into what's going on in the matches. It wasn't because they're bored or rejecting whatever's going on in the ring. So that obviously is a good thing. How about the news coming out of night one that they are going to do? They're basically going to start a new. It's NXT UK now, and they're going to be doing 2 shows a month, every month from now until November. So I'm wondering, and I haven't seen if they announced anything about this yet, but I'm wondering, are they going to make these 2 shows a month? They do TV tapings and kind of release them an hour at a time on the network, or are they just going to do what they did here, where tape them and then they just put them out back to back during the week, and you just watch them willy-nilly or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with it.
Yeah, at least there's progress toward it. We're seeing like progress because again, we were promised a UK brand how long ago, and obviously that after the failure, not even failure, but the unsuccess of 205 Live, they kind of pulled back from that and all the contracts they were going to have to sign with the UK guys. So I'm excited to see what they do with the NXT brand. And again, you're going to get a lot of like cross NXT stuff going on there too, which is what I really like.
Well, and originally it was going to be to compete with the World of Sport coming back in the UK, and there was going to be a wrestling show on basically over-the-air TV, which is going to be a huge competitor to something like WWE. So they were setting up their idea to combat that, and that's why they signed all the talent and everything. But then since that show didn't really come to fruition or start on any kind of regular basis, WWE backed off. Now there's been talk about them starting that back up again. So here's WWE coming back in and firing on all cylinders.
Well, they announced that thing a couple months ago too, where they want to get NXT, developmental systems across the whole world, and this is essentially them just going in line with that too. And we're gonna get NXT, Asia or China or Japan,
dojos,
in some
baby.
sense, or Ireland. We're gonna see some more stuff pop up. Brazil will be an interesting one.
You guys know so much.
But I like the direction where they're going with it. It's worldwide territorial. It's cool.
And I just wanted to touch on a couple other things from that whole UK. I mean, night 2 was really cool because it was presented like as an NXT show with like the NXT theme and everything. And then they had, the various titles being defended. Of course, the tag titles changing hands in a very good match. We had Shayna Baszler versus Toni Storm in what was a damn good match, I thought. The selling by Toni Storm was like, it made her so sympathetic in the match, and it was a slower paced match, but my God, I was just so.
That was good. It was a Shayna Baszler paced match, and watching her this match, I'm like, I cannot stop thinking about Randy Orton. Like, she's gonna be she's a female version of Randy Orton, just slow, methodical, just fucking destroying every piece of your body that she can, and it's so fucking great. And I'm really starting to fucking love it and watch what she does, because it is just, like you said, slower paced and everything. And we're used to these fucking Stone Cold Stunner off the top rope, some crazy shit, and she's bringing that real MMA aspect to the ring, but not cramming it down our throats, and I love it.
Fact.
Yeah, I can't disagree at all. Yeah, fun match. And then, of course, the main event, Zach Gibson and Pete Dunne, very good there. Check that out for sure. What else do we got? Joe, what is your best of the week as we continue to tackle the bees?
The B stands for best.
I'm going to take Taco's best of the week, I believe, last week, and go with Constable Corbin and his wonderful work on Monday Night Raw.
I think I have him 2 weeks in a row, maybe.
Is this a sarcastic best of the week, by the way?
No, sir. You're talking to a guy. I was a big proponent. I loved Corporate Kane. Fucking coming out in the slacks, wrestling in them.
Oh, that coffee mug.
Oh, exactly. So it's the same thing with Baron Corbin. The fact that, like, When's the last time we seen him wrestle in his gear now?
Well, especially too when he came out too, and I can't think of the announcer lady's name, but she's just Baron Corbin. He's like,
nope.
no,
Lady Taco, Lady Taco.
But yeah, he fucking corrected her and made Stephanie McMahon's personal pick.
Oh yeah,
fucking Constable,
JoJo,
Baron Corbin. And then even she fucked that up too. She worded it differently than he, and then he had that annoyed look on his face. It's like yes. I love it.
So yes, Constable Corbin, number 1.
All right, that's good. Let's get into some of the news of the week.
Pro wrestling news.
We have quite a bit of news for you.
Just a couple of quick news items here to touch on.
Sammy Wow Wow.
I was trying to find him. Yeah, it's a little bit old news at this point, but it did come out that he's got to have both rotator cuffs surgically repaired, so about 6 weeks apart. He's hoping to make it back in time for WrestleMania next year, so he's going to be out for a while.
Look, that's like a GPS right there. It's just you say "oofta," it's like Minnesota.
Exactly. And then other stuff. The Mae Young Classic is coming back. That'll be fun to see who they pick up for that. Of course, with Toni Storm, we just talked about her in this UK situation. Sounds like she actually signed a WWE deal now.
Oh, nice.
So I'm
excited for her.
I did see that. Yeah, she's one of my favorites on the indie scene for sure. So it'll be good to see more of her as well, and see who they get for to come back for the Mae Young Classic.
I'm hoping Piper,
and maybe some new surprises as well. So it would be fun. And then finally,
wait, question: is Jinder Mahal?
I don't think he's a woman or a cruiserweight.
Weird question: is Jinder Mahal a cruiserweight?
So, no, unfortunately not. And then finally, it was supposed to be Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy on SmackDown Live.
A lot of people were so butthurt when that news was like, fucking Jeff, what did you do?
We had Nakamura out with an injury, and it turns out it was from a fucking police dog.
Yeah, this dog was like, he's the bomb, shit.
Yeah, a dog bit him or whatever, the bomb-sniffing dog at a live event or something, and yeah, it caused an injury to Nakamura.
Telling you, it was just Nakamura walking around the goofy way he does. The dog's like, something's wrong with that guy.
Yeah, that's probably a possibility. So, all right, let's move on and get into our pet peeves of the week.
Sit, Ubu, sit.
Pet peeves.
Good dog.
We try to keep it mostly positive on this show, but once in a while we have some things that are bothering us a little bit, and I've definitely got one this week. I alluded to it earlier. I'm watching Raw, and I like most people, on Monday night watched Raw after work. The UK Championship show, the tournament, it dropped Monday, and I suppose
Monday afternoon.
Yeah, Monday afternoon. So some people got to watch it in the afternoon, but not me and not most Americans, probably. I'm sure UK people got to watch it in their part of the evening, possibly, since it dropped in the afternoon, because they're about 5-6 hours ahead of us. So that's why it dropped at that time, I'm sure. So it could drop during their evening hours, in their prime time hours, basically. And that's fine. I have no problem with them. They can put that up on the network whenever they want. But why, oh why, do you spoil night one? You spoil the result of the tournament on Monday Night Raw. And now I'm like, why would I even go back to watch that? I'm glad I did, because they told a good story with the tournament.
And I still need to go back, but I will.
But here's the thing: is you don't really need to, because we talked about it here. There was the matches were good, but there was nothing on there that was like, oh my god, you have to see this. It is cool to see guys like Dave Mastiff and other guys that were on the tournament that I hadn't seen a lot of. So yeah, go back and watch it. I'm not saying don't watch it if you don't want to.
Seriously, this guy's talking me out of it.
But
it was hard because, not even before Raw, they were fucking giving out the spoilers. Like, the WWE owned fucking Twitter was like, oh shit, Mustache Mountain won the championship. So give me a fucking chance. And then you have a whole fucking weekend with nothing happening, and you put them on hours before Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, it would have been nice to drop those on Saturday and Sunday.
Fucking give me something to do this weekend. There's no holiday going on. I'm scrolling like Ring of Honor, nothing. New Japan, nothing. WWE, nothing. All weekend.
When we're so used to having too much
Too
stuff
much.
and then they drop, Raw and SmackDown. Oh, and these 2 3-hour UK shows as well. but yeah, it was the WWE spoiler thing on Twitter. I'm well aware of it. I think I just unfollowed all WWE and then everybody else on Twitter spoils it anyway. But I mean, that is, it's your own fault when you go on social media, and that's just the reality of it. If you're trying 100%. To avoid spoilers and you go on social media, that's on you. Okay, but if I'm watching Raw and there's something on your network that might be interesting to watch play out, and you spoil it, well, why the fuck would I watch it now? And I had to. It turns out I finally had some time today before the show to watch it. But if I didn't have time, I wasn't going to watch it. So I mean, that to
and
me
I
is the
didn't.
thing. See, there you go. And
that's the thing is, I was watching the replay, and I was planning on going back and watching all of it. But again, right on the screen, Zach Gibson, he won.
Yeah. I mean,
thanks.
I'd say watch night 2 because then you get the championship matches. You get a nice recap of what happened on the tournament. So, I mean, yeah, again, if there's guys.
I'll still go back and watch all of them just because I'm that kind of person.
Right.
It's
worth
it. Takes the excitement out of it.
Joe, what is your pet peeve this week?
I'm going back to my classic squash matches, but I have proof this week because you got on Raw, you got AOP in a squash match. We haven't seen them in weeks. Fucking weeks.
They did disappear.
And now they show up and squash two random dudes, of course. But then you have Sanity on the other hand. We're in only the second week of Sanity showing up, and not only did they beat down technically the Usos, one of the top tag teams in SmackDown, you have Eric Young challenging. He's the backup to Nakamura for the open challenge, and I like that for 2 reasons. 1, Sanity getting that big top dog spot, and 2, that was an actual surprise for me when they're doing the U.S. Open Challenge. Sometimes it's kind of predictable, sometimes it's kind of fun. Sanity was fun, throwing them out there in that challenge, throw them in the spotlight with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's getting to be his normal self, so it's the same thing.
Well,
why does and Sanity's got the mouthpiece and Eric Young, but they don't have, and that's what AOP doesn't have. I think
this sounds more like praise for Sanity more than a pet peeve of a squash match.
But more
which is okay.
Using that as proof, as you can do that with teams and just have them come in and tear shit up.
But in the defense of that, though, why have Sanity lose this week too? After Eric Young looking like a badass coming out in an open challenge, and then them debuting finally last week looking like badasses, just to lose to Jeff Hardy this week on SmackDown. That was kind of took me what the fuck? What are you doing?
Technically didn't lose disqualification.
And that's what's good about a squash match is that the people that
Jeff
lose
Hardy
don't matter.
Jeff Hardy pinned him.
Yeah, but we know what AOP can do.
No, we're talking about Sanity.
Well,
this is a different brand.
But going back to AOP, we know what AOP can do. We're fucking podcasters who talk about wrestling every week. But the more casual people that just watch Raw, they don't know who the fuck AOP is. What's an Akam? What's a Rezar?
Wouldn't you want Sanity?
What the fuck is a Super Collider? Said Tim from Texas. Well, I need to know more about this AOP.
And they still need to show Sanity off, too, being some jobbers on SmackDown for a week or two, not losing to fucking Usos and United States champion.
Well, they didn't lose to the Usos.
The internet is...
It was a 3-on-3. No, it was a 3-on-3 match.
Oh, I thought you were talking about because they faced them last week, too, and I don't think they lost to the Usos.
Didn't they just beat the shit out of them?
Yeah, I think so.
That was last week. No, that was this week. It was the Hardy match was a DQ, so they made it a 3-on-3, and then Jeff Hardy pinned Sanity, so it's why have them lose to the champ? They should. People have been salivating over them for fucking weeks upon weeks and tease after tease. And
but you can set up a good feud with Sanity and Jeff and some other people.
Well, this week it was a DQ when the Usos came out and attacked Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf because they were getting involved.
Did neither of you watch SmackDown?
I watched it. I'm telling you, this is what.
Yeah, then
happened.
They set up that 3-on-3 tag match with Jeff Hardy and the Usos against Sanity, and then Jeff Hardy fucking swanton and pinned Sanity.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Why have the team of Sanity lose to the team of Hardys and Usos when they just came out 2 weeks after the fact?
Yeah,
That's a good point. I still say they look strong coming out of it, even with a loss.
Them fucking
especially a Hollow
just
moment.
beating the shit out of a jobber team out of the week. That would have made sense this week.
Nope.
How did we get on SmackDown?
Because of the jobber situation.
Jobbers.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's move back to Raw then, shall we?
Change the subject.
Monday Night Raw!
Did you guys watch SmackDown? That sounds like, how did you guys? Both of you. We good.
I forgot about the hollow moments.
Yeah, it was a commercial
came out of
break
the
hollow
commercial,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to Raw. Taco, I want to talk about what your favorite part of Raw was first. This is a good one here.
Oh, you ain't shit. Fuck, man. We need it. Like, finally, like, I'm glad, like, first off, welcome back, Alicia Fox. I really enjoyed Kurt Angle walking up to the back to both ladies saying, hey, you got to be a fucking tag team. Be fucking professional. It's your job. You know, you're going up against a tough team. I like that fact.
Here's the thing. Hold on. The internet is screaming right now. Kurt Angle is the biggest moron when it comes to the Bayley side. He keeps trying to put them back together when they're
not gonna work.
They clearly hate each other and they've been wanting to fight.
If you look
forever.
at the whole Raw, every single team was a dumbass fucking decision.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kurt Angle is a horrible general manager, but continue.
It's a good thing it's Constable Corbin.
Exactly. I like that you just pretty much be professional, get up there, and I like that they fucking did until the end of the fucking match where Bayley said, did my job, and then proceeded to beat the shit out of Sasha. I loved it. We need to see this aggression side. It's fucking what kind of hurt her in the past is like, can fucking Bayley use that kendo stick? Is she hardcore? Is she tough? Is she aggressive? She's finally fucking snapped, and you ain't shit. Right in the fucking camera, right in the fucking kid's face and everything. Like, fucking loved it. This is the aggressive side of Bayley that I want to fucking see. I hope something blossoms out of it. I love that it's kind of questionable, like, is Sasha going to turn or is Bayley going to turn? Who's the fucking agitator now at this fucking point? Because these broads are going to go to fucking war.
Sounds violent.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me too because I think in their mind, in WWE's mind, when they wrote this out on paper, this was supposed to be the big Bayley heel turn. Ooh. But everybody was so fucking into this. It was like
Right?
the hottest thing that Bayley has done since coming up to the main roster. This was Bayley's babyface turn, and this was what we needed from Bayley, some badassery. And so that's how I took it. I saw other people talking about, it was a great heel turn by Bayley. Oh, it's wonderful. A heel turn shouldn't be great. A heel turn should make you angry, should make you want to boo. The whole crowd erupted in cheers.
It's the generation, though, where the heels are the good guys are the heels.
Because they tell horrible stories.
Do they, though? People
Yes.
love Cody.
No, Cody, yeah, because he's telling good stories away from WWE.
But he should be a heel, and people love him. People love... people just love that heel mentality.
But they're booing Cody now in the right situations.
Yeah,
they're
still
kind
very
of.
thin line.
They
Still overly cheering him when it should be fucking straight boos. He's just professional enough to fucking know how to get the cheap boos at that last moment.
They boo him. They boo him against Omega. They boo him.
Exactly. Who was going to get booed against Omega?
Right, but I think they boo him over Marty Scurll, who is quote the villain. They boo him. They boo him against the right opponents, is what I'm trying to say, and they cheer him when they put, fucking Shane Taylor against him or whatever. Of course they're going to.
That's a far stretch. Shane Taylor, come on.
There's no way you can argue that the Bullet Club storyline is in any way, shape, or form worse than Bayley and Sasha and what they've been doing with that fucking train wreck.
I'm just saying, in general, in professional wrestling, people cheer more for fucking heels.
There's definitely that.
And it's not
side
just
of it,
WWE. It's
Yes.
generally across the fucking board.
Yeah.
Not every single one of them. Not like Jinder is a prime example. He's getting fucking heat. Cheap heat, good heat, bad heat. He's just getting heat. You hate him. Zach Gibson, fucking prime example. You had people out in the fucking UK out of their fucking seats booing this fucking guy because he's just so fucking hated over there. But they're love to boo him.
But my only other argument is the better story you tell, the more invested the fans are. even the ones that typically would cheer a heel is more prone to
Not
cheer the
everyone's a
babyface.
Ciampa. Not everyone could be a Ciampa.
That's what I'm saying.
I do fucking wish it was like that. We were really fucking booing a fucking Ric Flair or a Dusty Rhodes. But now it's the Eddie Guerrero syndrome where even you try to turn him heel, it's like, fucking, it's still great. Like, this shit's not happening. Like, the only way to really fucking do it is just kind of cheap shit, which you can't really, you got to be more buttoned up and, in what you say and do in today's age. It's harder to fucking be like a true fucking villain.
So let's take this, let's bring this all the way back around to Bayley, because that's what kind of started this whole thing. So what do you want as a fan Bayley to be? Do you want her to be a badass babyface, or do you want to just her be that I don't give a fuck heel? But if she's a heel in WWE, remember, they don't typically book, quote, badass heels. They book heels to be chicken shit most of the time. Heels are Alexa Bliss and Carmella. Those are your heels. Generally speaking, even like a Kevin Owens, who could be a quote unquote badass heel, is booked like a chicken shit. So they typically are going to book heels as chicken shit. So how do you guys feel about the Bayley thing?
I mean, I want to see, like Taco said, I want to see the aggressive Bayley. I don't know if I really care if it's babyface or if it's a heel, but I just need to see that aggression out of Bayley. Sasha, we know, can be a great heel. Sasha can play the babyface role. She really can go both sides. It doesn't matter. So whatever coin we flip, I'd say we win. I personally would rather see her go heel. I want to see Bayley try something completely new.
Taco?
I'm not thinking heel in the sense of her taking out the ponytail, throwing on the leather jacket, fucking, snakes,
going Triple
jets,
H.
No, she just needs to fucking just
motorcycle,
deadpan, fucking serious, like not bubbly, like just come out to the same music, same fucking colors, just fucking serious, and you're out for war. So everyone's just like, what the fuck is going on, Bayley? Question Bayley. We need to fucking question Bayley. Because Sasha's going to be questioning Bayley the whole time. Sasha is going to have to really turn full heel to fight Bayley, to me.
Yeah, I like, to me, the story I like best is Bayley as the babyface, but yeah, just
she
badass
has the big
now.
Fucking question mark on her right now. Like, you don't know what the fuck, you don't know her attitude.
Here's what I'm worried about, though, because it is WWE, and that was, quote, supposed to be the heel turn. Instantly next week, she's going to be the chicken shit heel who runs away in confrontations.
I don't think so.
I just don't think you can do that.
Only attacks people from behind. Sasha is supposed to be the sympathetic babyface who's going to fight from underneath, that we're all supposed to cheer to come back and make that big comeback against that mean Bayley who can only sneak attack people from behind. That's what I'm worried about. But I really want this to be badass Bayley versus the excuse-making heel Sasha Banks, who has that credibility because she just has that in-ring credibility, and the fans have liked Sasha in the past. But now if she can be a little bit of that sneaky heel like what they did at NXT and tell that story, but up here on this bigger scale.
See, and I'm going a little fantasy booking on this whole situation. I enjoy. I'm thinking that you set up a match going into Extreme Rules between these two, and somehow it may. And again, this is going to depend on who's heel, who's babyface, but somebody's going to get a chicken shit win at Extreme Rules in some kind of stipulation.
Or they
match.
Do another kendo stick match or something.
Something of that nature. But they're just beating the shit out of each other, and it's not a solid win leading into that awesome SummerSlam big epic match between these two, which is what I'm hoping.
Fucking parking lot brawl between them. Do it.
I actually kind of like the story from a year ago where Bayley wouldn't take the fucking kendo stick and she was too.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's coming full circle.
Full circle.
That's how fucking much she's fucking snapped. Is we're coming up on Extreme Rules and it's gonna fucking happen, and they gotta beat the shit out of each other.
Yep.
Joe, what did you like from Raw?
Honestly, KO and Strowman throughout the entire night. Let's just talk about the story they told. I love Braun Strowman just walking in. You know what? been pretty hard on the guy this last couple weeks. Maybe I've been a little too rough on him. I'm going to tag with him. What do you think? I mean, you going to say no to Strowman?
Yeah, that was great.
And again, they had a fun match, they did their thing again, and you saw the gif everywhere, but the running, power slam, and then fucking Kevin Owens fucking bowling ball into the guy, just the running opposite of each other. It looked awesome, and then you end the night with him with Strowman flipping KO's fucking rental car. Like, what the fuck? And again, I'm just glad we didn't have to sit through the crane lifting the car up this time, at least.
Yeah, it just ends up being flipped. Yeah, that was a nice touch.
I'm glad he made it to a Shania Twain concert.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been rough.
Got to meet her on stage and all. She didn't play the song that he wanted her to play.
She said he has to beat Braun Strowman in order for that.
Well, now they're best friends, except he tipped his car over.
Yeah, there's some money.
I guess they're back to being enemies now. So, my favorite thing from Raw, I don't know if it's my favorite thing, but my notable moment from Raw is Kurt Angle changing his mind, a.k.a. Vince McMahon changing his mind. We're not going to do a multi-man match now. It's just going to be Reigns versus Bob Lashley. So, because I actually do like how they've built up Reigns and Bobby Lashley last week and this week.
The promos were good this week.
Yeah, and I even liked it last week. I could see what you were saying last week about Bob Lashley. I kind of see what you were saying. He had a little bit of that deer in the headlights thing again. It's the scripted promos over and over, blah, blah, blah.
He
it's
was
the stuff we talk
He was
about.
good, though, this week.
But yeah, I liked it better.
It felt like two big dogs talking shit on one another. That's needed.
And man, when Roman pulls that heel side of him out, when he's fucking looking mopey, and Lashley calling him out for you can't beat that dude for 3-4 years, dog. And just like, you can't beat Lesnar. I got the legit tools. I like how they're kind of working the MMA stuff in, even though Lashley had like a dog shit MMA career, but they're still, whatever. It's there.
Say dog shit. It was decent.
It was. I mean, he was in Bellator. Whatever. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing.
Yes, wins.
It's better than CM Punk. So yeah.
Yeah.
So way better. I mean, that's not even CM Punk should be in Bellator. Maybe not even. CM Punk probably shouldn't even be in Bellator. Actually,
probably not.
Gallagher would whoop Punk's ass. Okay.
There you go. But yeah, I'm glad that we're going to get this match at the pay-per-view, and it's going to have big implications going into the Lesnar deal. So, and again, I'm liking the promos, even though
I like the Revival even got their fucking win back on them.
Yeah.
With their teamwork and continuity.
There was a little skullduggery there, wasn't there?
Still a victory.
Yeah, so there was that. So we'll get the rubber match next week, I'm sure. The big dog will get his win back there.
Can we talk about the awesome interaction between Jinder Mahal and the Riot Squad?
Go right ahead.
What happened in that whole situation? They come running up doing their Riot Squad thing. I thought they were going to write their big ass R on him, and they just say something in Indian and just raise their fist and just repeat it a couple times, and they walk away.
Weird question. Is Jinder Mahal a cruiserweight?
He's not.
Is he a member of the Riot Squad now?
I hope so.
I thought they smashed the camera when he was getting
Oh,
photos
you're right.
taken
They
care of.
did smash the camera.
Man, did you watch anything this week, Joe?
Fuck you, Taco.
Well, I guess that's the Riot Squad's new gimmick now. They just come around and just smash shit now.
I'm not mad at that.
They smashed
keep doing it.
Computers last week.
Threw it on the ground, baby.
Then I threw
camera
it on the ground.
Somebody should really call the police. If it was my stuff getting smashed, I'd be like, God damn this Riot Squad! They keep
they
smashing my
got
stuff.
Fresh and Popo. Just right at the hallway.
Let's talk some Smackdown.
Change the subject. Smackdown
You ain't
live.
shit.
Players, I'm going to make this a tag team match.
That's what I thought. Whatevs. Oh, please.
My liver.
Joe, what's your Smackdown moment?
I loved Hardy's promo again. I think they're just letting Hardy be Hardy at this point.
Little brother Nero.
Exactly, sneaking it in, building it up and everything. And again, because you don't got the good guy running the Intercontinental Championship, you can't do the Intercontinental Open Challenge. What happens? Fuck it. Nakamura's hurt. Let's just do the U.S. Open Challenge again. So I just want that idea to stick around with one title just for a while and keep it going. And then again, I love the surprise of Sanity. I like the idea of them coming out, surprising, Jeff Hardy. Like, where the hell does Eric Young come off getting a title shot? But that's the beauty of the open challenge.
Holla! I'm going to make this a tag team match.
I really liked the Becky Lynch Sonya Deville match. Sonya Deville's really coming along here. They have a nice little match, a nice TV match. Becky Lynch gets the feel good win that I need more of. It feels like they're building Becky Lynch up a little bit because Charlotte's going to be gone for a little bit. She finally had that surgery to repair the ruptured implant. So she's
looking good in the bodies issue of ESPN. Too.
Indeed. But I like that they're, with Charlotte away, we're building up Becky Lynch. It'd be nice to see a big match between her and Charlotte. We kind of talked about that last week a little bit, or even build up a match with Carmella, although I don't want to see Becky Lynch Carmella's just not good. I don't know.
No, she's not good, but she's money.
Yeah.
Carmella is money. I really liked the backstage interaction, too, between Becky Lynch and, I guess, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Lady Taco.
I thought Sonya Deville's shadow boxing before the match looked really good, though.
Oh, I'm so fucking sick of that shit.
I'm digging it.
I liked it, though, because, going back to earlier when you said WWE likes to book chicken shit heels, well, she stood up. She got in the phrase, said, "I'll take your fucking challenge," and when Becky Lynch was like, "Wait, I see 4 arms. Which one do you want me to break first?" So, I really hit that little, snotty attitude that is what she needs to be doing.
Straight fire.
And I like that fucking Sonya Deville was the first one to step up and got right in her face, and fucking stepped up to the plate too. It was a really good match for SmackDown between the two, and yeah, I'm with you. I like what she's doing. It's just not the MMA thing.
I stole your match from SmackDown there, Taco.
Oh, did you?
I brought it up. So do you want to bring up Daniel Bryan and Luke Harper in the main event?
Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to bring up about Becky Lynch anyways. Was in the background, doing that shit.
Well, and I will say this: you don't hear this out of me very often, but again, like Taco said, this was a good TV match, and I was impressed with Becky. She looked really good in the ring, and I enjoy her ring gear a little bit more lately.
That's right, geeks.
I miss the old ring gear, but I mean,
you're wrong. You are so wrong on so many levels.
Hold on.
What else?
I don't know.
Steampunk bullshit. I'm sorry.
The steampunk, whatever. I don't care about. I'm just saying the look of the stuff that she wears. The swimsuit thing doesn't do much for me, but I like.
I love it. Like, this is the most steampunk it looks to me, with the fucking fishnets and the gold fucking swim outfit. Like, it's dope. I love it.
Either way, she's straight fire. Either way. So.
Also hate that saying too.
That's why I keep saying it. Taco, talk about that main event, Daniel Bryan versus Luke Harper.
Yeah, it's fucking what I popped for right away last week when, the interaction, Team Hell No reunited, big old fucking hug in the middle of the ring.
God,
and,
that was so hot.
Fucking, right off the bat, though, I love Daniel Bryan's, calling out, but we'll just start off. Miz TV, Miz King, Bludgeon Brothers coming out, and they don't say a fucking word. And
great interview.
Miz doing Miz, fucking holding his own, talking to himself, fucking, cutting a whole fucking promo for 3 guys in a sense. And I love that Daniel Bryan came out and said, I don't care how big you are, I'm going to fucking fight you tonight. And we got the match that I wanted. Fucking Luke Harper and Daniel Bryan, because that's a match. That's a match and a half.
Cross another one off the Daniel Bryan bucket list.
That's I see, like I was saying last week, he's going to get the Jericho treatment. WWE, they owe him a lot. I don't want to say that, but I think they're going to give him the Jericho treatment. Kind of let him do his due, let him go around. Fucking Bree's going to come back, have a little fucking run, have some fun, and then Daniel Bryan's going to come back, fucking safe, better schedule, safer money, fucking better future for him, family, kids, shit. But I feel like they're, it's going to be equal sides on him leaving and coming back kind of shit. But anywho. Yeah, it's the match that I wanted was him and Luke Harper, and we fucking got that, and it was just a fucking banger of a fucking match, and god damn it, like
looked like he was going to get the win, and here comes Rowan, and
there fucking
DQs
comes Rowan, and
well, and that's the
Big Kane
disappointing
for the
thing
save
with Luke Harper, because again, right before he got hurt, he was on just like this little tiny run, like he was some good matches. He didn't really have the personality besides the Wyatt, family, but he was having great matches. So like, I'm disappointed that we do have Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, but I'm also not disappointed because they're an amazing fucking tag team. Him slapping the shit out of Rowan for the finisher. What can you do?
So
what I was trying to say earlier, though, about Miz TV and him kind of whole fucking promo by himself, this whole time fucking Bludgeon Brothers have been out here, they've said very minimal, and I love that them fighting Daniel Bryan
liquefied human remains
is what gets Luke Harper to speak some more. Like, it's on tonight, like just minimal shit. So I just like, that's how much they respect Daniel Bryan, is like, I'll speak for this guy.
Yeah. And then, what about Team Hell No? Are we going to do Hell No versus the Bludgeons at the pay-per-view, or is this...
it's official. Paige came out at the end. And,
that's right. That's right.
Is it at the pay-per-view, or is it at
Extreme
next
Rules?
Yeah,
Extreme Rules, yeah.
I remember her coming out.
Yeah, Paige is fucking killing it as this GM role. Even handling Ellsworth, during Smackdown, like, oh yeah, we got, a date next week. Oh, fucking dumbass Ellsworth. Yeah, it's with Asuka, and continue on that way. It's just how she's handling this GM shit. It's fucking awesome. You can tell she's taking it to heart, having a good fucking time with it. And, we have that merry moment with Team Hell No reuniting, big old hugs in the middle, and boom.
Hold me tight!
Paige coming out, making it official. So it's just fucking perfect, no dicking around, fucking get straight to the point, keep the excitement going, end the show on a high note like that. Fucking SmackDown's doing some good shit right now.
Do I get extra points for Asuka beating a man next week?
Yeah, I don't know if you get extra points, but you get points.
I should get more points.
But I'm sure it'll be a skullduggery situation with Carmella.
Don't make me sad.
Out there,
make me sad.
Don't hold your breath on that one there. All right, we got some honorable mention stuff here.
Change the subject.
I want to get into, Taco, you start here with some Impact news.
Is this the Impact theme?
It used to be years ago. This was from Spike TV, a la 7, 8, 9 years ago.
Fucking what I find fascinating is Impact game. They're fucking starting Fox Sports, and what's on Fox Sports now? Come October 2019, WWE Smackdown.
Hold on, what are you talking about?
Fucking Impact's first TV deal was with Fox Sports Nets way
back
in the
right.
deal. Yep.
Oh, okay,
so I just find it funny that full circle AJ Styles is right back at Fox. But yeah, the Impact news is we're fucking Slammiversary's been popping up on to order websites, and this looks like it's gonna be $20. So
that's so much better.
I think Impact pay-per-view is gonna be about $19.99 going forward. I hope, anyways.
That's really smart. I might actually order it.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm not gonna be mad if I do that.
I remember they built up the last maybe 2 or 3 pay-per-views pretty well, and I was kind of interested, but then I'd go to see how much it was, like $45, $40. I'm like, dude, Ring of Honor's like $30 or $35. What are you doing? Like, I'm not paying $45.
See, that's the thing is, like, I wasn't even paying $30 for a Ring of Honor thing, because it's like, that's neat. That's why I love Honor Club, because it's like, yeah, cool, up money up front. I don't have to worry about something. Yep. And I wish more would do that.
yeah. So that's good. Other stuff I forgot to write down here, but I did want to mention, speaking of pay-per-views, Ring of Honor's big Best in the World pay-per-view is this week, and of course we talked about it over on Strong Honor, did a full preview and some predictions, but the big main event, Marty Scurll and Cody versus Dalton.
I said Cody Abusha.
Marty Scurll versus Cody Rhodes versus Dalton Castle for the Ring of Honor Championship. In there, it could be a really big night for the Bullet Club. Bullet Club could walk away with a lot of championship belts on their way to All In and
gold, motherfuckers,
and even the G1 Climax before All In as well. So
you ain't shit.
So,
going back to Impact, I forgot to bring this up for even during the news, but I also saw not a huge deal, but like Eli Drake has signed like a multi-year or an extension to his Impact career, I guess.
Eli Drake, you say?
Yes.
Well, word WWE was interested in him, so.
Oh yeah, I heard that he might be interested in going to NXT at some point.
So
but yeah,
that's why they made a big deal of his extension there.
Dummy! Yeah!
There it took me a minute to get it there.
Can you imagine him in the NXT ring? Silly, yeah.
Dummy! Yeah!
What else here? What else did I have? There's some honorable
what's
mention.
He doing in the NXT zone?
I wanted to talk a little bit of
The NXT zone.
We got to talk some Lucha Underground here.
Wait for it.
Just forgot that. Not the greatest episode last week, but some fun stuff. Jack Swagger turned up. He is who is
Jack
he?
Stone.
He is Jack Strong.
Nope, Stone.
Savage Jack Strong. He had a big 6-man match. He was going to be Famous B's new big client. But Famous B distracted the referee for too long, and the guy that was tapping out to Swagger's ankle lock, well, the referee was tied up with Famous B for too long. Swagger got pissed off and attacked all of the Famous B guys after the match. King Cuerno, he says he gave the gauntlet to somebody else for safekeeping. Katrina's like, I need that gauntlet. I need it for my life force. And Cuerno's like, I don't give a shit.
Yep, don't give a shit.
And then the big main event was, Katrina asks Antonio Cueto if she can have the big death match next week versus, they call it Grave Consequences versus Phoenix for Mil Muertes versus Phoenix, because since she can't have the gauntlet, she needs Mil to kill Phoenix in this death match, or whatever, the Grave Consequences match, a casket match, essentially.
Isn't Sami Callihan in that too?
Well, yeah, Sami Callihan came in after the fact and be like, I need to get in that match so I can prove to Katrina that I'm her true lover or whatever.
I like that you just came in and said, I'm going to keep this short.
But getting back to the Grave Consequences match, that's where we get this little deal here, because she's like I want to have Mil and Phoenix in the deadly I keep fucking it up here, the Grave Consequences match, so I can have his life force so that I can become a full human or whatever again. And he's like, oh,
sounds violent.
So that's where we got that one from. And the big main event, Pentagon Dark defending against Matanza. Matanza had never lost a singles match. Here he does. Pentagon gets the win. He gets the win with the Canadian Destroyer and the package pile driver. After the match, he's going to break Matanza's arm, as he usually does, but Antonio kind of comes out and kind of saves him, but he basically stops Pentagon by coming out and saying, Dario made you soft, talking about Matanza there.
Cowers away from him.
So that was Lucha Underground last week. So again, nothing like blow away, but moving little fun stories along as we trot through the Lucha Underground season. Joe, I know you had an honorable mention there from NXT this week.
Yeah, again, Lacey Evans, taking the loss to Candice LeRae, the more popular, women's wrestler at the time. I'm liking her slow ground and pound almost style. She's kind of like the Revival in the sense that she targets a piece. She goes for a piece, a leg, an arm, and she goes after it over and over again. And just, again, shows her size, too, because, again, a lot of women are like Kairi Sane, Candice LeRae. They're not all going to be, Shayna Baszler's size. So, she has a really tall, Navy body, basically. So,
yeah,
and again, the name of her fucking finisher, the women's right, that's fucking awesome.
I wanted to talk about NXT this week in that I like Ciampa challenging Aleister Black and those promos that they cut back and forth. But Ciampa, what a great heel, fuck,
digs at you,
and just talking some natural feeling shit. Didn't feel like bullshit. Those guys interrupting each other a little bit in the middle there was a nice touch. So it looks like that's going to be our next. And again, we don't look ahead at NXT spoilers or anything either. So and I know they're out there. So just whatever. That's not what we do here. So
we enjoy our NXT.
We enjoy the process, the journey along the way. So, but it looks like it's going to be Ciampa and Aleister, and I like the Gargano promo in the back. I just got done. Candice LeRae is my favorite wrestler, but I went back and I've watched this match. match, and I'm still not over it. And in my mind, we're 1-1, and this is not over, and I got to go talk to Regal. And then Regal like tweeting out like, we've got to do something else right now. So you've got a match versus EC3 next week. And
top 1%.
Yeah. So I like that we're moving away from it, but Gargano still has unfinished business that we can come back
but what
to.
Do we do?
Well, we got to come back to this later. I mean, the natural story here is Ciampa wins the championship at some point, and Gargano goes to challenge Ciampa for the championship, and that's the highest stakes of all. So, getting back to what Ciampa was saying in his interview, or in the promo at the beginning when he's talking shit, when I was facing Gargano in the main event, Taco, I know you saw like a tweet.
Yeah, he was saying, when I face Black for the championship, he'll finally be in the main event of NXT TakeOver. Paraphrasing, but
right.
Good shit there.
Yep, and then that heavy machinery promo by the fucking barbecue was pretty damn good, talking about the mighty.
And congratulations to Tucker Knight. I think the reason they've kind of been off is because he had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right.
So as you say, 205, Leo Rush debuted this week. And,
that's right. I haven't watched that yet.
Dude, he was on the microphone, cocky as fuck, comes out, just blinging, fucking just. I like the direction they're going with him because he's just being a fucking cocky little shithead.
Fucking the way his promo, all I saw was like pictures of the stuff like that. I'm just like, he's the top 1% of 205 Live.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. All right, let's get into our retro recommendation of the week.
Yes.
Bounce back over here because, we got a big one.
Retro recommendation.
So, with the passing of Big Van Vader, we for sure recommended one match that we all went and watched, but I think we all watched at least several matches here. At least the three we talked about last, or did you just?
I was able to watch the Starrcade.
Okay, you watched the. Okay, so you watched the Starrcade. Okay, okay, I got you.
I got fucking not Bash at the Beach 92.
You got the Great American Bash. Yeah, I fucked that up last week when I put it out there. Yeah, it's not Bash at the Beach.
I was so disappointed. I wanted a pool, man.
Because David Bixenspan tweeted out Bash 92 as one of his recommended matches. That's why we watched it. And so I just assumed Bash meant Bash at the Beach. I didn't think.
I think that's more on him than it is on you. Because there's Bash at the Beach and Great American Bash.
I think
he should know.
Well, Great American Bash was around before the Beach, and it was probably the more storied pay-per-view than Bash at the Beach. But
son of a beach.
Anyway, let's start with the Great American Bash in 1992 match. So, as I was talking about earlier, Jim Ross and Jesse the Body out there on commentary.
Was this match one then?
Yeah, this was match one, I believe, between Sting and Big Van Vader.
I gotta say, kind of fucking going through this pay-per-view a little bit fucking was mind-blowing. Seeing people like fucking Stone Cold on the fucking bill, or, Yushin and the Thunder Liger on the fucking bill, still going at it today.
Yeah, I was doing that too.
Wow.
Checking out the undercard of that pay-per-view. I was all over these shows. I was enjoying going down the rabbit hole, as it were. So this was for the WCW championship at the time. The NWA championship was headed over to Japan. So now I fell down that rabbit hole too. What the deal was is they were having a quote tournament in Japan. This was the second year of the G1 Climax.
Oh wow!
And that was for the NWA title. Now at this time it was just a single elimination tournament that they did over a few days or whatever. So here I go over to New Japan World and I go looking up and they just have the finals, just the one match, and it's Masahiro Chono versus Ravishing Rick Rude. Okay. And it was kind of long and boring, actually.
Yeah.
But Chono wins, so he's the new NWA champion. Rick Rude ends up winning it at a later pay-per-view at where is it? At Halloween Havoc in '92. They have the rematch at Halloween Havoc, and Rick Rude wins the NWA championship. This is the same Halloween Havoc where they do spin the wheel, make the deal with Sting and and Jake the Snake Roberts. So that was
explain that a little bit.
So this was the era in WCW where they were doing these mini movies that were horrible.
I thought that was all of WCW.
No, this was very early 90s WCW. Yes. And so one of these was spin the wheel, make the deal, spin the wheel, make the deal. And it was Jake Roberts being creepy and spooky, building up to this match versus Sting. And the deal, you spin the wheel, and there was all these different matches on there, different stipulations for matches. And I forget what the stipulation ended up being, but it was like a coal miner's glove match or something. So that was where I ended up going down that rabbit hole. So getting back to the Vader match here. Vader, he's out there, of course, with his manager, Harley Race, who's a storied several-time champion himself in the NWA. He's got his steamy shoulder pad mask gimmick that he takes off and magically makes it shoot steam into the ring, which I thought was, it's one of those things that was always there with Vader, but it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that thing. That's awesome. Vader's dominant early in the match, but every time Sting makes just a bit of a comeback, the crowd just pops huge. And it's that women and children pop, it's like, you can tell, like, okay, Sting is for the kids and the ladies, and there's a side of the crowd that's just kind of silent for Sting coming back. But nevertheless,
there's one guy in the front row just arms crossed like the whole match, like,
Yeah, you'll get that. But even so, it was still a huge noise every time Sting made his comebacks. Vader puts a Scorpion Deathlock on Sting, and he ends up powering out of it in a somewhat goofy fashion. Sting makes a big comeback with I put quotes around these from JR. He does some martial arts blows and a rolling karate kick. I just love those
classic calls.
Yeah. Sting blades after hitting a post, going for a second Stinger splash, so now Sting is bleeding all over the place, and then Vader wins with the power bomb. And then after the match, slow motion replays expose the business. It's one of those things that WWE gets really right, is playing certain parts of a move in slow motion, but then speeding it up at the impact so you don't see how bad something would look in slow motion. So
I liked during this match too, they kept cutting back to Ron Simmons with a full head of hair, slicked back, fucking, I liked that camera angle of just, him watching the outcome and them just, focusing in on the wrestling ring in the distance. So it was just a really cool camera shot too, I thought.
Yeah, because the idea was him coming back or something, or being interested in the outcome because he wants to challenge.
It wasn't like nowadays where they'd be in a suite with all the lights and cameras and everything all around them, and just taking you away from the match, to go stare at this guy. It's like, no, I kind of like, it's like, that's Ron Simmons, so it's like that. It was still their way of keeping your eye on the match, but hinting at Ron Simmons and still presenting him in some sort of fashion.
Well, let's move. Any other thoughts on this match before?
Nah, it was a fun match. Fucking banger. Vader's.
Fuck. I just kept going down these rabbit holes and watching stuff.
It gave me a little bit more because even Sting, someone I haven't really fucked around with too much, and it was fun even seeing Sting and seeing him do the things he do, and watching that match. It kind of makes me want to see Lesnar and Rollins today in that kind of sense, just them kind of fucking around in the ring a little bit, because we know they can go at each other and have a hell of a match, and just seeing Sting and Vader go at it just kind of put Lesnar and Rollins in my mindset of that, beast versus speed kind of thing.
So I didn't take other notes on the Starrcade 92 match, but since you watched that one, Joe, this one was for the King of Cable.
King of Cable. Did he get a scepter and a crown at the end?
I don't recall, but I think there was there was some sort of award.
The thing I want to talk about this match is the power of Sting. He really showed the power. He lifted Vader multiple upon multiple times in this match. I mean, Vader helps him out in some sense, and that's the other thing.
Sure. That's pro wrestling.
Vader's selling. in this match for me. Like, even just the hip toss. Sting throws a hip toss. Vader throws himself into it. Like, he really puts it in every move. And again, Sting hitting a fucking German suplex on Vader in this match was amazing looking in itself. And they hit it, and it looked nice. So, like, I like that he's a big man that sells, because that's the thing, is big men are just big brutes and everything. No, he's like, with the right opponent, I will sell for you. We're going to put on a match. We're going to put on a show. The fact that, like, halfway through the match, he had to take off his mask. It was just getting in the way.
So Sting did win this match because he won the King of Cable.
Correct.
I can't remember, was Vader still the champion at this time?
I didn't see a belt when he came out.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't see a belt at the end because, it's the kind of thing where he's still champion kind of deal. So I don't believe he was still champion.
Well, they came back to this one a couple of months later in February, because Starrcade was in December of '92, and then at Super Brawl 3 a couple of months later in February of '93, they came back and had a strap match.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you guys watch this?
No, but I'm going to go watch it now.
Retro recommendation, go and watch the strap match from Super Brawl 3. Fucking Vader's back is all torn up from the strap. His ear is all fucking bleeding by the end of it.
If that's one thing, again, to say, Vader could take some punishment.
I mean, there's some Harley Race skullduggery in this thing, and this is the classic strap match where you got to hit all four corners, but at one point they're outside of the ring dragging each other around, hitting the poles on the outside of the ring to try to get the win, which was cool. And it's not even you can't just walk around and hit the four. You have to drag your opponent with you to hit the four quarters, which is kind of fun too. So yeah, I watched that, which was fun. I watched a couple of Ric Flair matches from late '93 and beginning of '94. So Starrcade '93 was the big comeback of Ric Flair. Remember, he was off doing the Royal Rumble in '92, going all the way and doing the WWE thing. Comes back to WCW here, faces Vader at Starrcade 1993 and beats him for the title there.
Nice.
So they have the rematch at Super Brawl 1994, again, just a couple of months later, in the Thunder Cage.
Yes.
Do you remember I had forgotten about Thunder Cage. Thunder Cage was like Hell in a Cell before Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
It was a cage that went all the way around the ring, so you could do shit outside of the ring. There wasn't a roof per se, but it was like angled at the top, so it was hard to get in or out, basically. So it was the cage match of all cage matches. And they kept it inside the cage for the most part. There was some skullduggery with the Lock and Harley Race getting in there and fucking around a little bit. So there was some skullduggery there, but it wasn't.
Sounds like a classic.
Yeah, it was classic. And the look of the Thunder Cage was also fun. It was very reminiscent of the old Big Blue cage from WWE, where it was the big squares.
Yes.
This one wasn't blue, but it was like a gray steel color. So it made it very easy to watch, obviously, because you're not looking through the typical chain link fence or whatever.
Well, and going back to last week, I think you brought it up that Lucha Underground's rocking the like blue and yellow ropes. I kind of didn't remember what you're talking about. In that Super Brawl match, those ropes are fucking on there. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what Tommy was talking about. Like, that's classic WCW blue and yellow right there. So
I'm actually really excited to go down more Vader rabbit holes. What we're going to do for next week's retro recommendation, every week NJPWWorld.com has a free match that they put up on their YouTube page and at NJPWWorld.com. If you're not familiar, NJPWWorld.com is where you can subscribe to New Japan's streaming service to watch all of their shows that are live and on demand and whatnot. So they put up a free match every week, and this week's one that they put up was Stan Hansen versus Big Van Vader. So we're going to watch that one for next week. I'm excited to fall more down the New Japan rabbit hole of Big Van Vader.
Well, he had a big career in Japan.
Absolutely, a huge career.
That's what I thought.
In Japan, not only for New Japan but all Japan as well. So there's lots of stuff to go look at there. But I'm actually more excited to as well go back and look at more WCW stuff. There was a Cactus Jack feud in there that I'm sure is phenomenal. What else did I was looking at it earlier today, and I saw I think after the stuff with Flair, I think I can't remember because Hogan gets in there at some point, and I think that's when things start getting kind of fucked up.
I'm pretty sure Vader was on an episode of
Boy Meets World,
Baywatch, if I remember correctly.
Thunder in Paradise.
I own that on DVD.
I was hoping it was Big Van Vader running down a beach in a Speedo with like his fucking junk bouncing in slow motion.
Ooh.
Nah, they'd speed that up. They don't want you to see that.
All right, so
why would Vader be on Baywatch like that?
All right, let's
change the subject.
Fucking Vader bombs one of the lifeguards.
Match of the week.
It's time.
Joe, what is your match of the week?
Going back to Raw, the Ziggler-Rollins match, even though you got the shitty ending, with Drew McIntyre getting in ending the match early, you still got a decent match out of these two. We're seeing Ziggler at his best, and we're enjoying it. We're having fun with the whole Drew McIntyre and him combo.
Yeah,
and I think we're setting up a decent feud between these two, and pulling in Roman Reigns. Pisses people off. I was hoping for Dean Ambrose. I saw a blue light for like half a second. I'm like, but wrong music played.
Yeah, I like it. It's been a long time since I've cared about anything that Ziggler has done, and having this great match really helped. Yeah, exactly. The finish, the heat, or whatever. We'll have the Holla Holla tag match probably next week, and
most likely,
and we'll probably have another rematch for the IC title, probably at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, something like that. And I don't mind that. We're 3 weeks away. We can do the tag match. We could do a Roman and Drew McIntyre match, but that would probably convolute things on the way to the last.
We're going to see Roman and Ziggler on 1 week, and then we're going to see whatever the fuck his name was.
Clinton Dix.
Fucking spear into a claymore.
Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, we could.
That's
do that.
what we'll see.
There's different ways they can go, but yeah, it's nice to actually care what Dolph Ziggler is doing, and to see him in a good match too that you care about. That you're invested in. I think is important as well. Taco, what's your match of the week?
I went with the opener, the whole fucking UK 2-day fucking tournament. Day one, start off Gibson against Gallagher. Those guys fucking just set the pace, fucking went out there. They got some time to fucking go out, and I wasn't really expecting the first match of the night to, really go at it like that. But like I said, they fucking set the pace of the night and fucking really tore at each other, and, groundwork, fucking... It was awesome, like fucking a banger. And Gallagher is one of those guys where I say he can fucking beat CM Punk. I'm serious. He actually steps into the MMA, has stepped into the MMA and won. That's why I appreciate someone like that, because he doesn't fucking scream, MMA fighter, and he never stepped in a ring like that. It's like, no, the dude's a legit fucking threat, and he really showed what he really showed what he was about in that UK tournament to start things off right. And fucking big win for Gibson. I mean, Christ, he went on through the whole tournament. But
really got his finisher over throughout the tournament itself, and just working those arms and those joints, man. That joint manipulation. That's the UK deal.
That win really got my eyes fucking like, oh shit, Gibson, goddamn, and he progressed the whole tournament, and it was just each match was just more. Damn.
Well, and going back to what New Japan did with Zack Sabre earlier this year, this was kind of the same story. They built this guy up. He had a championship match. He lost the match, but now you've built up a star who's got a finisher that's over, and so there you go. Now you're off to the races. So fun stuff. For me, my match of the week is, what did I do here? Of course, the tag match from Wednesday's NXT. It was a 6-man tag, Mustache Mountain and Ricochet versus all of the Undisputed Era. We had 3 really good tag matches over the last few days. We had the first one, the 6-man tag from the first night of the tournament, which I heard is really good, but I have not seen yet. I had to kind of skip around some stuff on those UK shows to get through it all today. But I want to go back and watch that. And then the night 2 match where the Undisputed Era lose to Mustache Mountain. We had some malfunctions at the junction a couple of times, and the Mustache Mountain took advantage and won the championships. I thought that was a good match, but I liked the takeover match from a couple weeks ago a lot better. And I want to go back and watch that 6-man from night 1 to see how that one holds up.
There's a fucking another injury, Orny Lorcan.
Yeah,
fucking Orbital.
Mention him.
Oh yes,
he's gonna be out a while.
Yes. Going back to the match at
Takeover?
Not Takeover.
Great Balls of Fire.
But the night. There it is.
Great Balls of Fire.
From night 2 of the from the UK tournament, where Undisputed Era lose the championship. Roderick Strong has those shitty little boots on. If you don't know the story of the shitty little boots, I believe it started in PWG, where Roderick Strong was like a babyface in Ring of Honor, but at PWG, he was this fucking shitty heel who wore these shitty little shooter boots, just like what Minoru Suzuki wears. And so I don't know who started it or how it got started or what the story was, but that was the thing. They called them shitty little boots. And so ever since Roderick Strong has turned heel on NXT, I have been looking for the shitty little boots, and I hadn't seen it yet. And then last week, Oni Lorcan started tweeting about shitty little boots, and I'm like, oh shit, here they come. And sure enough, on the not takeover, but on the UK Championship show, the match where they lost the belts, Roddy's out there in them fucking shitty little boots.
That's awesome.
But then today on Wednesday on NXT, he was back to the regular boots.
Oh,
so but my match of the week was this week's the match with Ricochet, Mustache Mountain, the 6-man, and Undisputed Era. I just thought it was just a fun, really good match.
Not saying spot-wise it's like this, but this was the closest energy-wise that I felt to almost like a Young Bucks style match.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to like the television show. Sure, the ladder matches and stuff like that are electric at NXT, but when it comes to the television show, we don't get a lot of these big high-flying matches on NXT. We get like strong matches or, build-up matches. So to get like this solid main event, especially this would be technically their first night of tapings, going in, that's a strong way already leading into the next NXT.
Well, and what I liked about it is it had elements of everything. You got the British strong style Mustache Mountain guys in there. You got the high flyer Ricochet doing his thing, coming in on the hot tag and going crazy. You got Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly hitting fucking hard and doing their thing. God damn, O'Reilly was so fucking good in this match.
And again, it's the
never heard that before.
The simple setup when all 6 dudes, there's the two legal men in the ring, and then there's the 4 men on the outside ropes, and they're all slugging back and forth on each other, and then they hit he hits the fucking knee, and then Roderick hits that slam onto the fucking apron.
Oh yeah, the whole thing that led up to it was when Ricochet hits that crazy fucking senton, the 640 senton on Cole, and O'Reilly saves Adam Cole from the pin, and Ricochet stares down O'Reilly, and O'Reilly has this oh shit look on his face that's so fucking perfect. I just love that oh shit look, and then Ricochet running out there going after O'Reilly, and then what you said, where Roderick Strong just flips his ass into the fucking apron, and that was the finish. He threw him into the apron, and that was it.
You didn't do anything more. Like, I'm done. I was done for him.
Yeah. I mean, one of us said, one of you guys said, pro wrestling is fake. It was just like, we need to keep a mic on in this room all the time. So yeah, just a really fun match, a good way to wrap up the day. Because I watched a ton of that NXT UK tournament stuff today, and that match just topped it all off for me. So loved that match. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Follow the show on Twitter at BPW Podcast. Follow me at Tommy Stryker, spell Stryker with a Y. Email the show, join the conversation, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com.
It's not Pest Bro Wrestling Podcast.
No, you fool! Links,
what does that mean?
The rest of the links are in the description. Make sure you check out the new SLTDwrestling.com. You can find this podcast, Strong Honor. There's an Impact podcast over there. SLTDwrestling.com, Fantasy League, Predictions League, all kinds of cool fan articles talking everything in wrestling. Check them out too. Taco, where can people find you?
Ooh, follow me on Twitter at HGREV Taco.
And you can follow me, Joe, at JoeBPWP. That's at Joe. Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Bye. Peace.
No, you fool! Keep on sucking.
I like that butt.
Juice!
That's right, geeks.
Butthole.
Bo.
Boho.
Bo.
Boho.